bodybuilding, going on to compete in several minor contests in Europe. However, it was when he emigrated to the United States in 1968 at the tender age of 21 that his star began to rise. Up until the early 1970s, bodybuilding had been viewed as a rather oddball sport, or even a misunderstood freak show by the general public. However, two entrepreneurial Canadian brothers, Ben Weider and Joe Weider, set about broadening the appeal of pumping iron and getting the sport respect, and what better poster boy could they have to lead the charge than the incredible Austrian oak, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Over roughly the next decade, beginning in 1970, Schwarzenegger dominated the sport of competitive bodybuilding, winning 5 Mr. Universe titles and 7 Mr. Olympia titles, and, with it, he made himself a major sports icon. He generated a new international audience for bodybuilding. Gym memberships worldwide swelled by the tens of thousands, and the Weider sports business empire flourished beyond belief and reached out to all corners of the globe. However, Schwarzenegger's horizons were bigger than just the landscape of bodybuilding, and he debuted on screen as Arnold Strong in the low-budget Hercules in New York, 1970. Then director Bob Rafelson cast Arnold in Stay Hungry, 1976, alongside Jeff Bridges and Sally Field, for which Arnold won a Golden Globe Award for Best Acting Debut in a Motion Picture. The mesmerizing Pumping Iron, 1977, covering the 1975 Mr. Olympia contest in South Africa, has since gone on to become one of the key sports documentaries of the 20th century. Plus, Arnold landed other acting roles in the comedy The Villain, 1979, opposite Kirk Douglas, and he portrayed Mickey Hargitay in T. He well-received TV movie The Jane Mansfield Story, 1980. What Arnold really needed was a superhero, warrior-style role in a lavish production that utilized his chiseled physique and gave him room to show off his growing acting talents and quirky humor. Conan the Barbarian, 1982, was just that role. Inspired by the Robert E. Howard short stories of the High-Boring Age, and directed by gung-ho director John Milius, and with a largely unknown cast, save Max von Sydow and James Earl Jones, Conan was a smash hit worldwide, and an inferior, although still enjoyable sequel titled Conan the Destroyer, 1984, quickly followed. If Conan was the kickstart to Arnold's movie career, then his next role was to put the pedal to the floor and accelerate his star status into overdrive. Director James Cameron had until that time only previously directed one earlier feature film titled Piranha Part 2, The Spawning, 1981, which stank of rotten fish from start to finish. However, Cameron had penned a fast-paced, science fiction-themed film script that called for an actor to play an unstoppable, ruthless predator, the Terminator, 1984. Made on a relatively modest budget, the high-voltage action, science fiction thriller The Terminator, 1984, was incredibly successful worldwide, and began one of the most profitable film franchises in history. The deadpan phrase, "I'll be back," quickly became part of popular culture across the globe. Schwarzenegger was in vogue with action movie fans, and the next few years were to see Arnold reap box office gold in roles portraying tough, no-nonsense individuals who used their fists, guns, and witty one-liners to get the job done. The Testosterone-Laden Commando, 1985, Raw Deal, 1986, Predator, 1987, The Running Man, 1987, and Red Heat, 1988, were all box office hits, and Arnold could no wrong when it came to picking winning scripts. The tongue-in-cheek comedy Twins, 1988, with co-star Danny DeVito, was a smash and won Arnold new fans who saw a more comedic side to the muscle-bound actor, once described by Australian author, TV host Clive James as a condom stuffed with walnuts. The spectacular Total Recall, 1990, and Feel Good Kindergarten Cop, 1990, were both solid box office performers for Arnold, plus he was about to return to familiar territory with director James Cameron in Terminator 2, 1991. The second time around for the futuristic robot, the production budget had grown from the initial film's $6.5 million to an alleged $100 million for the sequel, and it clearly showed as the stunning sequel bristled with amazing special effects, bone-crunching chases, and stunt sequences, plus state-of-the-art computer-generated imagery. Terminator 2, 1991, was arguably the zenith of Arnold's film career to date, and he was voted International Star of the Decade by the National Association of Theater Owners. Remarkably, his next film, Last Action Hero, 1993, brought Arnold back to earth with a hard thud as the self-satirizing, but confusing plot line of a young boy entering into a mythical Hollywood action film confused movie fans even more, and they stayed away in droves, making the film an initial financial Disaster. Arnold turned back to good friend, director James Cameron, and the chemistry was definitely still there as the James Bond-style spy thriller True Lies, 1994, co-starring Jamie Lee Curtis and Tom Arnold, was the surprise hit of 1994. Following the broad audience appeal of True Lies, 1994, Schwarzenegger decided to lean towards more family-themed entertainment with Junior, 1994, and Jingle All the Way, 1996, but he still found time to satisfy his hardcore fan base with Eraser, 1996, as the chilling Mr. Freeze in Batman and Robin, 1997, and battling dark forces in the supernatural action of End of Days, 1999. The science fiction conspiracy tale The Sixth Day, 2000, played to only mediocre fan interest, and Collateral Damage, 2002, had its theatrical release held over for nearly a year after the tragic events of September 11, 2001, but it still only received a lukewarm reception. It was time again to resurrect Arnold's most successful franchise, and, in 2003, Schwarzenegger pulled on the biker leathers for the third time for Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, 2003. Unfortunately, directorial duties passed from James Cameron to Jonathan Mostow, and the deletion of the character of Sarah Connor, Linda Hamilton, and a change in the actor playing John Connor, Nick Stahl, took over from Edward Furlong, making the third entry in the Terminator series the weakest date. Schwarzenegger married TV journalist Maria Shriver in April 1986, and the couple have 4 children. In October of 2003, Schwarzenegger, running as a Republican, was elected governor of California in a special recall election of then-Governor Gray Davis. The governor, as Schwarzenegger came to be called, held the office until 2011. Upon leaving the governor's mansion, it was revealed that he had fathered a child with the family's live-in maid, and Shriver filed for divorce. Schwarzenegger contributed cameo roles to The Rundown, 2003, Around the World in 80 Days, 2004, and The Kid and I, 2005. Recently, he starred in The Expendables 2, 2012, The Last Stand, 2013, Escape Plan, 2013, The Expendables 3, 2014, and Terminator Genisys, 2015.